the guy who's on the console, the smart guy who's been navigating all the slides, the moment I came in, he said, "You want to check your slides?" I said, "Yes, why not?" And then I said, "Have you checked it?" And he said, "Yes." And I made some changes on your fonts. I said, "Even if you make an error, it's okay. We are all about fuck-ups, so I'm kind of good." So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the last session of the day. I'm sure you guys have had a long day and successfully last 2 days. So if you both days have been attended by you, so how many fuck-ups till now? Anyone wants to take a small hit? How many fuck-ups till now? See, officially I can use this word and so can you. So this is one of the best sessions where you can use the word fuck-up. So how many fuck-ups till now? Anyone? Should I say it in Portuguese? Sorry, desculpa, não falo português. So, oh well, so you won't know the fuck-ups because the guys who are sitting behind the console will know. All the things that did not happen are the fuck-ups. Okay? Great. Can we have... Not yet. I'm seeing a startup showcase. Okay. Okay. I love this. This gives me a nice talking point. Okay, great. You've got some slide here, but I don't see it here. So anyway, you know who I am, basically. I'm just a comic book collector. Linda, you've been very kind in telling me about my profile here, but the whole thing is very simple. Now? All right, so she covered all of this. But I actually have a failure resume. So anyone who wants to see this resume, you can scan. Essentially, it's the most important thing in my life because without the failure resume, it's very difficult to navigate conversations with people who matter a lot. Because what I do with the failure resume is I essentially generate a lot of empathy. I move the path of empathy and that helps me a lot. Because the moment I've got them to agree or nod and say, oh yeah, this is a common ground, you fucked up, I fucked up too, and this is what your basic resume is, so it starts a good conversation. And like I said, I also have a failure story. So if you want to scan and read my failure story, I'm not going to spend time here on telling the story because I've been told I have just exactly 45 minutes and I can't fuck that up. Okay, so let's move straight ahead. So who doesn't have failures here? I mean, are there any people who haven't had any failures in life?
Every day.
Every day. So I like that, every day. And I think, I'm sure. So should we call them failures or should we call them fuck-ups? Well, okay, great. So most of the people over here have had failures. And there is no shame about being failures. We are human. We are not robots, and even robots have had failures too. There are many times when robots fail when we intend to do. Codes do that. And we are now entering the world of artificial intelligence. You have seen so much of intelligence which is being spoken of. I coined the word artificial intelligence very differently. I say it's assistive intelligence, not AI is not artificial, it's assistive. And assistive means that you're humanizing intelligence. That means you're getting someone to help you do something which are things which you normally would not want to spend too much time on. And that's what assistive intelligence should be. And that's which is humanizing it. And that means you can expect even technology to fail. And there will be many such situations where things can fail. You all are moving into startups. This is all about technology space. So I'm going to speak only about the fact that how can you tackle the situation when you enter failure, or what happens to you when you see failures. And failure is the base, which is, if I do a word cloud or the word failure, it has success also equally big. If you see it's successful, entrepreneur, these are the words which really come up. So that means we are a room full of people who are entrepreneurs and they would see failures and success going hand in hand. It's a big game. Now, all of you know this person? Ellen? Who doesn't? 13 years of lot of stuff. Now, Ellen, in one of the episodes, picked up one of the failures which I really liked, and it was really funny. So I thought, to lighten the mood at this point and making fun out of failures. As you see, Fuck Up Night's acronym is FUN, F-U-N. So let's have a look at this video.
It's all yours for the taking.
Before we go, I want to share one of my favorite moments with y'all. I hope you're sitting down for this. Back in season 5, an infomercial convinced me to try out the Hawaii chair. Here's what happened.
Hi, I'm Erin Lee with Perfect USA. Today, we've brought a Hawaii chair to a very busy work environment. Let's get some first-time reactions. Oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Great on my abs.
Hawaii chair while answering phones, using the computer, balancing books, or filing paperwork.
What's great about it is you can, you know, and they say you can do just about anything on it. You can, like for instance, while you're working. You can just work.
Well, guys, this was the era when sitting is the new smoking was the time when people were talking about that, you know, more you sit, more you become unhealthy. And in 2008, January, this product was officially launched in US. And, you know, by 3 years, this Hawaii chair from 2010 reached Museum of Failure. Museum of Failure is a museum which covers almost all failures till now. You can look it up on the internet. It talks about it and proudly speaks about it. Do you know this was for $350, by the way, at that time? And people bought it for office, which meant that your health can happen while you're sitting and keep doing what you're doing. So, acknowledging the failures, knowing the failures, when to back off, when to continue, what to do with it is an important pivot in fear of failure that I'm speaking today. We are talking about failing well. The important point right now is that failure is, by the way, going to be with us. It's universal. It can happen to anyone. Yes, we agree on that. Failure can happen to anyone. It is inevitable. You know, this is a picture frame of all the people who have not failed. So it is going to happen to everyone sometime or the other in your life. You cannot avoid it. So what do? You do not avoid it, but then failure are awkward too. You know, it's awkward because sometimes you come into the situation, your body reacts very differently, your mind reacts differently, people around you react very differently. And that's what causes us to really think of where I am on the failure. And that's where the problem is, because some things of the failure are not in our control. Now, what you do with this is strategically error manage. Strategically have a plan of action once you've failed. And that's what we are going to talk about, how to fail well. Failure is dynamic. One to understand it's a process, not the outcome. Yes? We agree to this? It's a process. It's a movement. It's a system. Acknowledge this and keep saying it in your mind. More your mind hears this fact that failure is just a process. It's a dynamic movement. It can happen to anyone. It is universal. It's inevitable, rather than entering into your own shell. Okay, it happens. You come into that mode. And you will also come into that mode because of only one thing, which is called the psychology of failure. And failure sucks, yes, but it instructs. It sets up the agenda for you. It sets up the rules for you. It gives you the art and science of bouncing back. Why do I not use the word of art of bouncing back, but it is there in the title of, if you look at my title of the slide, is that art is something which you're born with. It's your inert capability or ability which people think it's a natural instinct you have. And science is something which you can develop and capabilities that you can create on your own. So failure is going to happen, but art is not bouncing back. It is a science of bouncing back, and that's what fearless failure is all about. What's this word? Have you heard of this? Come on, anyone? Atychiphobia. Well, it's the fear of failure. The psychology of failure rests on this. It is the fear which makes us behave, act, and do things because of just this phobia. So now that brings in 2 points. When a body is psychologically subjected to a failure, what happens? Your mind starts thinking of a failure. You come into a situation of whether should I continue or not, or should I regret not doing or pursuing. It's a given fact that this is unknown territories which will happen. It's not an easy task. Is there an easy task or way of it? It's very easy for me to put on slides, but in real life, you will have situations where you will be able to see what's happening to an extent, but you will not exactly know what happens. So there might be something which you can think will happen and some things which actually will not happen. And so in between, there is an uncanny valley of disappointment. That is the point of valley which can sunk you or bring you. That means you can enter that valley if you have a fear, and if you choose not to, or if you choose to leave it aside, there can be a regret. And that's what is the most important point when I study a fear of failure, okay? Now, when you have a fear, it prevents you. You get into a blame game, right? That's what the first natural instinct is. That when you look at failure that has happened to you, start building excuses. Because that's how we are wired. Our minds are wired like that, and you start building up those excuses. But then would that be the right choice? Or should I look at fear of regret? Which is like fear of missing opportunity, right? Now tell me one simple thing. What would you choose? Would you go by the fear of failure, or would you go by the fear of regret? Anyone? You would go by the fear of failure? Who wants to go with the other side? Fear of regret? Because there might be some potential in what you're doing. And you might feel that, oh, what happens if I pursue and what happens if I do not? Right? Well, the best approach right now on this is balancing the two. You'll have both. You will move from fear of failure to FOMO, fear of missed opportunity. Not fear of missing out. Social has taught us FOMO to be fear of missing out. It's missed opportunity. And you will get aware of the risks and look at potential. So how do you do that? All of you know Tim Ferriss? Tim Ferriss, you know? Yes? Sorry? Yes, yes. So that's the guy. Now he came up with a little thought on how to manage this. It's called the fear setting. And I quite like that formula. So while I'm speaking on this, I just wanted to bring you something which is very nice. So he says, put against the 3 dots of what if I do something in which I can possibly fail. And the first column, put all the things which will ensure as failures, which you think will make it fail, as defining the failure set. Put the refine and the prevent columns to have all those things which can avoid that failure. Okay, put this as a list. Step 1 is to put it as a list. List column 1 with all the things that can make it fail. What if I go for a holiday to UK? What can I do? How can it fail? I may miss the flight. I may do this. I may XYZ. It may rain. And I may not even enjoy my trip. So what do? Then I figure out how could I prevent. I can carry an umbrella, probably check the weather app, see things like that. It's very basic, I'm telling you right now. It will be much more. And then you can figure out how can I actually repair it. What can I do, things to prevent and repair. And on the next part, spend 3 minutes on what might be the benefits if I attempt to do that. I may have good time, I may meet new people, I may network, I may get new ideas if I go to UK. So you weigh it against that. And then the cost of inaction. Are you able to see the fear of failure and fear of regret? Cost of inaction is what is the missed opportunity in this. And if you do this kind of a worksheet for yourself, whenever you are facing a situation where you are trying to enter the uncanny valley of disappointment, you will be able to figure out whether should I regret this much or should I really fail in that point and just go ahead with that. So this is the first point in psychology of failure, okay? What happens to you when you fail? You fight it, or you fly, or you freeze. Sorry? You can freeze, yes. Freeze is an option which we'll speak, but what is fight? You fight. And what is flight? Okay, so fight is all about blame game, anger, frustration. Suppose you're doing something and you fail. What's the first reaction the body does? Oh fuck, I failed. What's happened? It's not happening. And I start throwing things out. I start looking at anger. And a lot of people say, you need anger management. You have anger issues, right? But no, that's how I reacted. My body will be human. It will react like this. And if a failure happens, I will have to either enter a fight mode, which will normal be. And if I enter into a retreat or avoid risk mode, it is flight. And that means you will actually kill innovation. You will never ever come into a mode of doing things differently. And freeze is a mode. What happens in freeze? You actually freeze, you don't do anything. So how do you get out of freeze? And there are many people who teach you to get mindful. They tell you to be taking a break, just moving 2 steps back, doing introspection. But I have one thing which really works well in freeze. It's the best thing to do, and a lot of women here spoke about that. We need mentors. Have a great mentor towards you who can actually move you from freeze to movement. And it's very critical. So it is a very valid thing to do. As a mentor, it can help you move from fight, flight, or freeze. So this is the second step in psychology of failure. You regulate your reaction. You don't get impulsive. You choose your time. You figure out whether I'll fight it out, I'll fly, or I'll move something to freeze. Okay? The third part is growth mindset versus fixed. What is a fixed mindset? Can anyone tell me? Fixed mindset is all about one logic. I am born with certain capabilities, nothing more can be done to me. Nobody can teach me more, nor I can learn more. I can only be this person. I won't be able to do anything more in situations which can come or go. Growth mindset says no. Capabilities can be developed. Things can be done. And that's what is the third pivot of failure psychology, that when you are in a fixed mindset, your logic is very simple. If I will not try, I will not fail. That's the best situation. It's the best situation to be in. Let's not even try. Fuck it. Using fuck up in a very different way. Fuck it, I'm not going to try. I'm not going to fail. As simple as that. Or growth mindset said that now this has happened. Should I retreat or should I avoid the risk? Should I fear the failure? Should I fear the regret? Should I look at a fight, flight, or freeze? So that's what the growth mindset says. It says this in the psychology of failure. And what you do, how you do, you focus on your path, accept more challenges, pay a lot of attention to your thoughts. You know, this is the time when you pay a lot of attention to your thoughts because they're very valid thoughts. Only you are going through that situation and storm. You will be able to see what's happening around you. Document that. Keep a notepad with you. And do that because those notes will help you to think of newer ways. But you know what my favorite is? My favorite is adding yet in your vocabulary. Whatever line you say, just add yet in the end. Just add, I have not succeeded yet. I'm not a CEO yet. I'm not a unicorn yet. I have not launched my MVP yet. I don't have an investor yet. This yet is such a powerful word that it changes your thinking completely. Look in the mirror every day and say that, I have not succeeded yet. And that will make you feel so happy that your whole day will be around growth. So this is all about the psychology pivots of failure. And this is what is the base for fearless failures. So, what happens and what exactly do you do when it is a fearless failure situation? Fail fast, fail forward, and fail well. Most importantly. What is failing fast? Quickly. Fast, quick, fast. Tell me. Failing fast means doing small experiments, taking small risks, doing things where you can actually fail fast and you can correct the path. It doesn't mean suddenly that I want to jump off the cliff, because that's not fast. You will sunk in fast. But so you do things which are smaller, manageable, which can give you quick learnings and can give you setbacks too. Please understand, it's easy to stand on the stage and talk about successes. It's very tough to talk about failures. It's not you. It's not the way humans are wired. We come from a society and style that we don't accept to really get on the stage and talk of failure. So quick learnings is the way. So failing fast is the first step of fearless failures. We are moving slowly from psychology of understanding of failure so that you know what happened there in your mind, body and stuff, and how do you tackle it. Now we are moving that if I want to fail well, because failures will happen, what do I do? The first step is to really fail fast. Okay? And then fail forward. Fail forward, as the word suggests, is all about failing as a learning tool, failing as a lessons. And you can do it, exciting insights. You know, whenever I get a failure, the first thing I do, is there a surprising insight in this failure or not? You know, what is a surprising insight? Something I never expected. Fuck, it happened, and what did I come up to? So that surprising insight, by the way, is your step towards failing well. So if you capture the surprising insight, and there has to be a proper method around it, there are methods to do that. And when you do that, capture that you have figured out that this is the insight, then you improve. Because it brings you to a situation to now kick ass. You go forward with that. Fail again, fail fast, fail forward. Fail again, fail fast, fail forward. And it's all about resilience. So it is all about the fact, if you tell your mind, failure is nothing but a fucking data tool. If failure becomes my data tool, you don't avoid data, you capture data, you study data, you analyze data. And you have data scientists for that. So that's what you do. You put against the column of data as failures as a data tool. Okay? This is what, can you look at the startups on the right hand side? All of these startups pivoted themselves on the base of failure. Can you see some big startups here? Do you see some big names? It is true, failure is inevitable. It will happen to anybody, it can happen to, but they have made it big now. So it's easier for me to put this slide as a pivot and say that they pivot. They can move ahead. They can have various type of opportunities, like a YouTube or a Slack here is a great input for one to really figure out that failure can happen. We know this tool, Slack. Everyone has used it. And Slack is what? A communication and a messaging tool. Stuart Butterfield, often when he was born, he was named Dharma, by the way, you know. And he changed his name on his own later. He's 26.51 billion in Slack. Slack is part of Salesforce. Do you think Slack ever came like Slack? Do you know the story of Slack? Anyone? Super. You know how it happened, right? Lenz and you. You were on Joe. Yes, I'm getting good with names. So you saw that Slack happened, and both of you just tell me the keyword behind Slack background. Anyone? Both of you? Yeah, absolutely. So Slack was formed by a video game called Glitch. And you know what? Stewart managed to get upwards of 100 million to 500 million investment for this game before he killed it. And this is how it started. 2009, new venture launched. 11 really brings in the Glitch part. He pulls out Glitch in 2011. 2012, Glitch dies. It's a failure. It's subjected to failure. 2013, early 2013, suddenly the team is sitting. And they said, you know what, our communication with US and Canada improved when we had this tool which we created for internal messaging. Stewart gets up and says, fuck, let's launch that. It does not exist in the world. And Slack was born. And Slack was born with today at 26.51 billion, part of Salesforce. It's not a small story. It's easy to talk about that story, but failures can be small and big. The quantum doesn't matter. Failure can happen. And what do? You figure out the fail forward. Fearless failure is about failing forward. Okay? And fail forward is also synonym with feedback. There is a feedback loop which you can create. It's about reflect and adjust. Airbnb. Do we know Airbnb? How many people are booked in Airbnb today? Oh, okay. So what's Airbnb for you today? Anyone? You raise your hand, ma'am. So what's Airbnb for you? Unique. Okay. Airbnb, 3 founders, 3 boys, started the company by renting out only mattress. They said, this is a mattress company, let's rent out mattresses. And their journey to 10 million, which came in 2012, is impressive. Search it on the internet and you will know how they pivoted. They failed forward. And when you say Airbnb, it is 84.28 billion. And what Airbnb stands today is for hidden experiences. What they don't say as a story is, imagine a world where you can discover more of a city without the travel itinerary. Because they feel that you can stay in hotels, you can stay in various places, but then you have fixed itinerary. Go to a city which is new, see it beyond the Eiffel Tower and the museum, go to the hidden streets, go to the hidden spliff. And how does that happen? Because your Airbnb host is the best tourist guide. So that's how they say that our hosts are best. They give you what happens in the city. They will tell you places where you should go. And that's what Airbnb is. So Airbnb started off with renting of mattresses, and today they are what we all feel is good. So this is the pivoting ahead. Okay? Identify the lessons, learn fast, have transparency, improve team productivity. I don't think I have to say much on this. You guys are super smart to pick this up, that how to fail forward because of feedback. Now, there is a process behind that. It's called the AAR process. Does anyone know the AAR process? It's called the after action review process. When you are in a situation of managing teams and you come to a situation you're looking at failing small, you're failing fast, and now you want to evaluate the fail fast, look at this process, which says, very simple, what did we want to do? What actually happened? Where are the differences? What can be learned from here? Failure is a data point. Map out the how, when, and why, and we will come to a new ways to prevent and grow. This is good? Are we good until now? Yeah. Perfect. I have 21 more minutes. Super. So, with all of this comes a caveat. Very important, when you're actually failing, we get so emotionally tied to our concepts sometimes, and we love it so much so that we don't want to let go. It's like human relationships. When you're in a breakup situation, you don't want to let go. And it's the toughest part, and most of the coaches and emotional coaches today teach you how to let go easily, right? Now, when you are a startup in a situation and you have faced a failure, this is the decision that you need to take in your introspection time. Should I stop what I'm doing? Should I continue what I'm doing? Or should I actually pivot? It's easy for us to talk about Airbnb and Slack. Somehow they got lucky also. Luck is important too, but they also pivoted right. They set the good examples for us to pivot right. And then it also sets up a thing that should I let go or should I not let go? Should I get emotionally attached to my concept or should I start thinking afresh? Should I go back to my drawing board? This is a very important decision in failures. And I wanted to bring this up because in the joy of fearless failures, we should not lose line of sight to get dangerous. Sometimes when you get dangerous, there is a lot of disappointment, you know. So the process of deciding whether to stop, let go is these 6 points. You should have the art of assessment, which is the AAR process kind of a style which you do. You should be recognizing the sink cost, Tim Ferriss method, or whichever method you want to follow. Sometimes it's important to make your own methods. It's not important for me to tell and coach you. I can only probably work with you on your failure. And because I am not in that shoe right now, I will have to get into your position to really think about it. And that's the most important role of a mentor in a failure, to think that it is his failure. So get a mentor who can actually be thinking like you and be part of your failure as a failure, okay? And when you are doing this, you definitely need to have your exit strategy in play. Remember, when you exit and let go of things and stop doing, you cannot become dangerous in that situation to make it so hurtful for you that you're not able to restart or think again. So exit strategy is very important, okay? Is it good? So what is fearless failures? It's all about risk of failures. And how do we do that? It is something which is about what you love against the fear. If you really love something too much, you will not have the fear and you will not reach that situation of feared situation. Second is your failure, by the way, should always be in a new area. Imagine the world, someone fucked up, but you're doing still the same thing and you want to fuck up again. I don't know why. So you will never do that. If you're failing, ensure that probably figure out around you what's happening and say, oh, they failed and it's this. Let me look at another place to fail. Or a new area or a better way to fail. And that's the first step after you've defined the love against the fear. Once you've done that, then you see an opportunity for a viable situation and look at your goals, embracing the failure and not the dangerous. Okay? So that is about fearless. So fail well with honesty, courage, resilience. And I have my favorite part here, share the failure. Sharing the failure, by the way, is the best. And that's what Fuck Up Nights is all about. We do Fuck Up Nights across the city in Lisbon, Porto, Braga, Guimarães. We are with the Algarve Evolution talking about how to bring it to Algarve, where I want 3 to 4 speakers who talk about their failures and failure stories and get on the stage in a room full of strangers and without the fear of judgment talk about their failure. This is what Fuck Up Nights is. Fuck Up Nights is not celebrating your failures. Fuck Up Nights is celebrating the sharing of your failure. Remember, and that's why we always say share the failure. And, you know, I would love to do this exercise here. If all are game, I would love to make your failure story. You have my failure story, you can read it. But the twist in all of your failure stories should be that one surprising insight. So spend some time today with yourself, whenever you are doing. Go back and think about your failures and take one failure which is really memorable in your life till now and talk about that failure with a surprising insight. So I have 2 templates. You can easily scan this code, use these templates to write your own failure story. And how are we doing on the time, Linda? Are we doing good? Yeah. Oh, it's 15 minutes. If you want, you guys can, after scanning, take a dig at it. And anyone who's courageous enough has these 10 minutes to get on stage and talk about his failure. Anyone who wants to. And this is very simple a process. It's all about the way the path is. In a template, we tell you how to make the story. Okay, this is all in the QR code that I've put. Okay, so use these boards, use this to your failure benefit. And you know what? I have found one great thing to really, which works well. If I kickstart my pitch, if I kickstart my foot in the door conversations with a candid failure story. By the way, it works best. I've seen it work very well when you are with investors, when you are in a pitch situation. This is the 3.44 minutes of the hook. Build your failure story and tell it to yourself so that it is timed well for 3.44 minutes. And you should be clever of it, how to use the failure story to your benefit, okay? And how to be a perfect when you're talking about a failure story. There is a secret. If you want, I can share it. Should I? So best is to talk about the failure and keep on the mirror in the morning. Keep your audio recorder on the mobile phone. Talk about your failure story on the mirror as if you are talking to someone else. And look at your face and keep talking about your failure story. Record the story and forget it for the whole day. In the night, switch on the audio and listen to it. I'm 100% or more than 100% sure that you will have edits, because that failure story will sound very weird or different until you've perfected it. Once you are in a situation where you edit and re-edit, next in the morning, do the same thing. Again in the night, listen. Till the moment of that morning, which is the best morning for you, where you say, I fucked up, and this is what the fuck up is. So that's the day when you say, my failure story is ready. Thank you for the time. And that's about fearless failure. This is my QR code for WhatsApp. I have two handouts, two stuff which I can send. One is a failure management handbook. And then I have a fuck up book which has stories which we have told in 300 cities by so many people across various countries. And I'm going to send it to you as PDF files or links which you could download and use for making your failure story. Thank you.